What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
Monsters!
All you have left is my desire.
My name is Frankenstein!
Batman's gone mad!
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
See this? This is my boomstick!
I ate his liver with some fava beans. Nice community. It's us.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's alive! It's alive!
Here's Johnny.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
Welcome to the debauchery.
What's up, all you horror movie loving fuckers? Welcome back to Fright Flick FMK, where we watch horror movies and then tell you if we'd rather fuck it, marry it, or kill it. On this week's episode, we got us a kind of new 2023 film called Baghead. I checked this one out on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, you should look into it. Really good site, app, whatever. A lot of good horror movies on there. This one had been on my list for a little while. I kind of just I put it on my watch list like when it first kind of hit Shudder, and I just didn't really get back to it. And so this week, me and John were kind of texting back and forth, and this was one of the names that he had brought up. And I told him, I said, hell, it's been on my watch list, so I want to do that this week. So I didn't really know anything about it. I try not to like watch trailers and stuff like that. A lot of other horror podcasts I listen to, sometimes if it's a movie they're talking about that I haven't seen, I won't listen to that episode until after I've watched it. So people have talked about Baghead on their shows, and I just haven't listened because, I didn't want it spoiled. So I was like, I'll watch the movie and then go back and listen to shows. So that's why it's I know nothing about it. I just knew by what the cover said. Well, not really what it said, but kind of like the look of it, where it's like a partial face, like a bag being pulled over its head. Pretty self-explanatory with the title. When I started the movie, I'm asking questions kind of like right out of the gate, because when it starts off, you got this old guy, and he's like in this. They called it a pub, like a bar. But the way everything looked, it had like this older feel to it. Like it was like maybe the fucking, I don't know, 50s, 60s maybe. It just had this old looking kind of bar, bigger looking bar. And I couldn't even tell if it had electricity in there. I just really couldn't tell, kind of dark. This older guy's in there. A dude comes in there wanting to saying shit about, I need to see her. And then when it kind of you get a part to where the old man makes a video, and he's talking about, and it did have my attention when he got the video describing kind of like, this is your problem now, is almost what it was kind of like, because if he makes some kind of line about, if your name's on the deed, she belongs to you. You have to make sure she stays in the basement. And he gives like instructions for this. And because it's one of those, like, if you're seeing this video, I'm dead, like, oh, it didn't work if you're seeing this video, because it's like a different part to it, to where it's like his goal was to end this thing, this curse, this thing in the basement. He's going to end it, going to set it on fire type thing, and doesn't go so well. And even later on, it kind of shows you how that process went down with him trying to get rid of the thing in the basement. And then when it jumps forward, you realize, okay, this is more like present time because it's got we get introduced to a girl and her friend. Maybe it was Leslie and Katie, maybe. I don't remember the names. Did I put the names in here? Let me see. Iris. Yeah, my bad. Iris and Katie, the two main girls. Iris is, you come to find out, is the daughter of the guy that was in the little pub. Her best friend, Katie. When it shows them, and when they first show them, at one point, like she gets a phone call and basically saying, like, your dad, you know, you tell it has something like with her dad being dead. And the one thing I was trying to figure out like their age because they look like, especially Iris looked like so young. Like she could have passed for like a 13-year-old or 14, in my opinion. And so apparently, you know, they had fallen on she's on hard times because she basically got evicted out of her apartment. She went and grabbed some shit, and now she's going to go stay with her best friend, Katie. She gets the phone call. Katie basically because it shows Iris on a plane. And I guess she's going to wherever her dad was at. And so I'm like, holy shit, like you could afford a fucking plane ticket. Like you was just getting your fucking clothes out of your, you know, apartment you were kicked out of. But then you find out later that Katie, the good friend, foots the bill on this. And throughout this movie, you do come to find out that sometimes having friendships suck and how you just be better off if you just stay to yourself because things don't go so well for Katie. The one good person in this fucking movie that tries to like be helpful and always be there for their friend, the only good person, and doesn't end well for it. There's going to be spoilers when I talk about this. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, then come back. But yeah. And then when she gets there, I'm still trying to, it's almost awkward watching it and seeing her because she looks so young. And I'm going, like, does she even have a driver's license? But I'm assuming she's older because she's in a fucking, has an apartment and shit like that. Maybe they're like, you know, I think like maybe are they in college or some shit, but I don't really know. You don't really get that. There's no really getting to know either one of them in this movie, in my opinion. It was like, because don't really get, you know, why she's on her own until later. You don't understand. Is she in school? What is she doing? I don't know. But now she's flew over there. She meets this guy who is like the legal person who has like all the paperwork and shit. And he's basically trying to get it taken care of quickly and almost wants to be like, hey, if we just sign this stuff, you know, we can just get rid of it and cover whatever assets or whatever. Cause he tells her that, you know, like, oh, your dad owned this pub, and like she knew nothing of it. So he goes in there showing her around and stuff like that. As he shows her around, you know, it was just weird to me. Like, this is a place you've never been. And she just tells him, she's like, can I just stay here tonight? And she is going to sleep in this fucking building, this pub, whatever, because it's a big building. This isn't some little hole in the wall pub, pretty good sized place. At some point, her friend Katie's going to call because Katie's the good friend. Katie calls her up, make sure she gets there okay. And Katie's worried about her. Katie's like, I just bought a plane ticket. I'm coming there with you. You know, your dad died. You know, I know you're going through some stuff. I'm going to be by your side and help you through this. So Katie's on her way. And then there's parts in this where it's like in every horror movie, it seems like, where there's electricity in the building. You know, because there's a part where she's in the room where her dad was sleeping. It's like a couch and shit, and that's there. There's electricity. And at some point she hears something, goes down the stairs, she's got her cell phone light on, walking around with cell phone light, like down in the main bar area, like the main pub area. Like, I would think if there's anything that you would have a light to flip on, I would think that would be a spot to have some light. But no, she just walks around with this phone camera. And And then it's like you're waiting for something. Like, is something going to scare her or something going, whatever. Is something going to happen here? And all we do is get introduced to this guy, Neil. Neil was the guy in the beginning that is literally talking to her dad, wanting to say, kept saying, I need to see her. And he just tells him to leave. Now we got him just standing in the bar. And I'm trying to figure out, like, and she sees him, she kind of jumps back. And I'm going, how the fuck did you get in the bar, guy? Like, um, Iris, this is your first time in this place. I hope you were smart enough to, make sure everything's locked up, to make sure all the doors and windows are closed, considering you're in this place that you know nothing about. But no, apparently this dude just randomly gets inside of the pub. And in the beginning, when it shows him, there's like a little door he has to go through. Dude lets him in. So I'm like, damn it, Iris, lock the fucking doors. You got some random dude rolling up in there. She acts all kind of nervous. And he's basically like, I need to get down in the basement. I need to see my wife. He's almost like saying, like, my wife's down in that basement. And of course, Iris is like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what do you mean? And he's trying to explain it to her. And she's not really hearing it. She's not. She's just kind of like, what do you mean? And then all of a sudden, what changes her mind, what changes her attitude is when he pulls out some money. He pulls out, like, I got my usual fee, $2,000. I don't know what the money translates over there. I don't know if it was in Germany. I don't know where the fuck they're at. I don't remember. So I don't know where 2,000 transferred to. But I'm just saying $2,000. But he's like, I got the usual $2,000 in an envelope, sets it on the table. And she's kind of looking at it. And he's like saying, I just need to get down there and see my wife. She's kind of like, you need to leave and all this. And he pulls out more money. Here's 4,000. And apparently 4,000 was her price. Like, people have a price. And apparently Iris's was 4,000, and she basically tells him, like, well, to get down that basement, there's a certain door. And you see this door, all these markings on it. And apparently it's the only place in the whole building that has good light, because you can flip a little light on right there in the hallway and it lights up, but nowhere else. She's like, I don't have a key. Basically tells him to come back tomorrow. And then this weird part is when she meets with the guy with the legal papers to basically, she decides she wants to keep this pub for a while. She ain't got nothing back home. She says, I don't have nothing there. So she goes to sign to get all the paperwork and stuff. And while she gets all the paperwork, there's going to be a folder that's going to have, like, the keys. There's going to be a VHS cassette. The VHS cassette, which was left for the next person who the pub belongs to. On the VHS, it literally says instructions. And there's also a piece of paper. The first thing is, like, you're just there. You're signing for this pub, this building. It's going to be yours. The first little what the fuck was when he hands her, like, this one piece of paper, just one old looking piece of paper, sets it on the desk and hands her a pen. And you do notice that on the pen, there's these little markings on it that kind of look like the same shit that's on the door. And he hands her the piece of paper, one piece, sign here. She takes the pen, signs her name on it. This old girl don't read nothing. She don't read anything. Also, I just recently bought a house. There is a whole lot of paperwork, a whole lot of shit you got to sign. Like, she had no clue. The dude's like, piece of paper, sign here. That's simple. Even if it was a fully 100% paid for type thing, I would think that there would be a little more than just a signature on one old piece of paper. But then she gets the stuff, goes back. Her and her friend Katie's there. Our dude Neil, this dude shows back up. And this is where we finally get introduced to what goes on in this basement. He kept telling her, I need to see my wife type stuff. And they did not go back and watch the tape. They didn't go back. the fact that the dude even said, like, your father left this for the next people who own it, and it said instructions on there, you would think, let's go pop this in the old VCR. Let's see. It was my dad. It was my dad's last words. So would you be curious to maybe know what the fuck's on that tape? Apparently, it's a pub you knew nothing about. You haven't seen him in all these years. And now you have this pub, you have this tape with instructions. Go back, pop it in, give it a listen. No, we don't do that. No. They just go back. Neil's there. Then we get introduced to the basement. Go down to the basement. At first I thought it was going to be fucking dark. They grab a little lantern. He lights a lantern just to walk a few little steps, and then there's a light switch. You needed a lantern to get from the top of the stairs to the bottom, hit the light switch, I guess. I don't know. Because I guess those cell phones that they were using earlier with lights on it don't work now. I don't know. But they get down to the basement, light comes on, open, you see the whole basement. You see a brick wall, big hole in the brick wall. There's like 2 chairs sitting in the middle of the room, bunch of other junk sitting around. And at this point, I'm not really into it. I'm kind of into it, but I'm not like, if I glanced over at my phone while I'm watching it, I don't feel like I was missing anything. And so now that we're here and we're about to meet the fucking Baghead, he gets to the door, not the door, the hole in the wall, and he starts talking to the hole in the wall, basically saying like, hey, come out. Like, I need to talk. I don't remember exactly what he said. He's basically talking to that hole in the wall. At the same time, Katie standing right up there at the bottom of the stairs, and Iris is down there on the floor level with him. And as he's talking to the wall, Iris, they start making little jokes, because they just think he's fucking crazy that he's down there talking to this hole in the wall. And Iris is making like comments like, come out, wherever you are, joking kind of way. And they're kind of like, hey, man, come on, let's get out of here. And he's like, no, wait. And then all of a sudden, I think Katie says something like, what is that? And you see something moving in the dark. You see something coming out. The thing comes out of the hole, puts his hand on one side of the wall, and it just kind of comes stepping out of that hole. Creepy looking. It's not even really creepy. It's just like this old lady with a bunch of old baggy clothes hanging all off of her with a bag on her head with a little hole in it so she can see. And creepy looking hands. She comes walking out. Now, I get it. In movies, it's, I love it. It's all about imagination. Shit that, what may not happen, you can make it happen in movies. It's just the way it is. I would have been okay with a little more realism of like just a little bit of scared. What the fuck is this? Run back up the stairs or something. Because I would have been. This thing just came out of the wall. But they just kind of stand there. Even Katie, Katie's just there because Katie's a good friend. And even Iris is still standing there. Like, nobody makes like I knew Neil wouldn't, because Neil has been there. But the other two don't even kind of like make a like, get the fuck out of here type move. They're just standing there. Like, they're not surprised by this. Like, it didn't just, make you almost pee in your pants a little bit. It had to. Some type of reaction. But then Neil tries to talk to it. But then you see the little creature Baghead lady start making a beeline toward Iris. And Iris at some point is like, stop. And it stops. And then she kind of like, and then Neil realizes, because he knows the rules, Neil realizes that her name is now on the deed and she is now in charge of that basement. So that's kind of like with the video, some of that shit in the video explained that old man made. Whoever's name is on the deed controls that lady in the basement to a point, which means, you can't let her out of the basement. You have to keep her there. Your job now. Your name's on the deed. She belongs to you. Don't let her out of the basement. Never really knew what would happen if she got out of the basement, because they even tell you a little story about how it all started, like 400 years ago or some shit. she apparently had this gift to where she could either like talk to the dead type thing. I think they call them mediums now or some shit. Hold on, everybody, grab your beverage. But I'm telling you, like mediums now. So apparently, all these years ago, she could do that. Now, the twist with this one is that the old lady comes out, sits in a chair, strap her wrist down. She gives you 2 minutes, 2 minutes to speak to the dead. The way she does it is you bring something that belongs to that person who's dead. So, if you wanted to speak to, like, he wanted to speak to his dead wife. Well, he comes in there bringing his wife's engagement ring. The only twist is that engagement ring originally belonged to his mother. So we get introduced to his fucking mommy. And so, like, okay, we get it, Neil, mommy issues. But so that's how this Baghead works. She takes whatever you give her. She sits there a second. She starts screeching this annoying sound. She kind of slumps over, and then she turns into that person, like literally turns into this person, because Neil uses it to get down there because he's like, I just need to tell my wife bye one more time. So 4,000 was the price to just go down in the basement with this dude that you had no clue who he was. You don't know what's going on down there, but hey, $4,000, you're willing to risk it. So you get to see her basically when he gives her that ring, she transforms into like his wife, not his wife, his mother at this time. And he realizes later that, oh, that ring originally belonged to my mom. That's why he was talking to the mom. And so, but the rules get explained to where like 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, the longer you're talking, it makes that Baghead lady stronger. And she's able to get loose. So you only got 2 minutes. As I'm watching it, it kind of reminded me of another movie. A little movie called Talk to Me. I think that was the one where they had the fucking hand. They had a, dead person goes in there, talks a little bit, and that's kind of like what this had, that same kind of way about it. And so that's kind of how the bag lady works. They go down there, couple minutes. After 2 minutes, you're supposed to put the bag back on the head. Put the bag back on her head. That kind of brings her back to, she belongs to you now again, person with name on deed. And once you're done, they would put the bag on, unstrap her, and basically tell her to go back to her other side of the wall. And she would get up and go back to that side of the wall. And so after it doesn't work out because, and this was odd to me, because here's one of my issues with this. Let's take Neil, for instance. Neil was wanting to say goodbye to his dead wife. You'd realize he has been doing this for a while. He has been going to her dad, paying this $2,000 to get to go down to the basement and talk to his wife. And I guess this was the first time that he ever like brought something that belonged to his mother originally. Like, I would think an engagement ring would possibly be one of the first thing you brought with you to do this little procedure. When the dude gives you rules, here's the rules. I need you to bring $2,000. 2, I need you to bring an item that belongs to them. 3, you only get 2 minutes. 4, we bag her up and put her back behind the wall. Simple rules. And I guess Daddy was making a little living doing that for a while. And so, like, when all these times he've come, this is the first time you brought the wife's engagement ring, because most people, when they think significant other, a little memento, a little something, a necklace, a ring, a watch, something like that. But this was the first time, Neil, you decided to bring her engagement ring. And then he realizes, like, oh shit, that belonged to my mom. So he's got to try it again. He wants to do it again. They're kind of like, no, like Katie's like, fuck this, we need to leave. And Iris is kind of like, tells old dude, like, that was your chance. He gives her the rest of the money. He goes, here's the rest of the money. Gives her money and leaves. He's like, if you change your mind. So as soon as I seen the deal with the money, I was like, oh no, little Iris is going to be selfish. Little Iris is seeing dollar signs. Little Iris has a price, and she's going to be that dumb kid that just goes out there and just like, I can do this. I can do this. Because they eventually, after all this goes down and they finally see her, they eventually go watch the tape. They finally sit down to watch the tape. Because even on the tape, the dad's giving warnings. Like, he's telling like if you go past 2 minutes, she gets stronger and that she will fuck with your head. She's going to fuck with your head. And he's basically telling her, like, you can't leave. Like, there's no, like, just locking the door in this basement and flying back home. You can't do it. You're on the deed now. You have to be there. If you're not there, bad things will happen. Not to you, but the people you love. If you're not there. Now, one of the things in the movie that in the beginning, when I read the description, it was like it will let you speak to loved ones, but not without consequence. Now, what I have yet to figure out, a consequence to who by talking to them, because this apparently went on for a while. So, was there no consequence to the people paying the $2,000 to come down there and talk to her? Was the only consequence the one whose name was on the deed? I mean, and you could tell it was fucking with his head, because at some point you realize he did try to go home. He did try to leave to get back to his wife and his daughter. And basically bad things started happening. So he had to come back, basically saying I had to be here to protect his family because he knew bad things was happening. So is there no consequence to the people who just want to show up and spend $2,000 to go downstairs? You don't really know. You just know the consequence for the ones being there. Like, I'm wondering, like, at some point, could you just kind of make an agreement? Look, I'm just going down the street for some potato chips. I'll be right back. Don't kill nobody, lady in the wall, while I'm going to get some groceries, and then I come back. We got a bright day tomorrow. We got some new customers coming by. $2,000 a pop coming in. I'm walking them downstairs, strapping her up, and giving them 2 minutes, and I'm taking my money, and we're going to get along this way. Maybe. I don't know. Because apparently this has gone on for a very long time. This piece of paper's got a lot of names on it, all over it. And so everybody has gone through this. Everybody's been on the deed, has done this up to a point. To the point it's like they eventually like kill themselves or something, but they have to get the house sold and a new name on the deed. And I have questions while I'm watching this, because I'm kind of messed up in the head. Some questions I have. The parts when it's showing, like when Neil's talking to her, even when he comes back, he eventually gets to come back and they let him talk to his wife. And you come to find out that Neil isn't wanting to just say goodbye. You come to find out that Neil at this point is asking her, who are you going to leave me for? And I'm sitting there going, because apparently she died in a car wreck. And so Neil's kind of like, who are you going to leave me for? I need to know. And you have Katie downstairs and you have Iris with the little kitchen timer set it. As soon as she made the squealing noise, slumped over, she picks her head up. He lifts the damn bag. That's his wife sitting there. She starts the timer, 2 minutes. He starts asking questions. Now, here's the thing. When this person comes back to life, it's not like they know what's going on. To them, they have no idea. Like maybe that they're dead. Maybe they don't know how they got to this spot right here, right now. So imagine if you were to just wake up one day, you're sitting in a chair with your wrist strapped down in this basement looking thing with people standing around, and your mother, daughter, son, husband, whatever is sitting across from you. There's going to be a period to where Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Like, how much of your 2 minutes are you wasting trying to calm them down? How much? When they look down and your wrists are strapped down and you're sitting there going like what am I doing here? What's going on? There's going to be some hysterical shit. And so you're trying to calm them down the whole time your 2 minutes is running, guy. Like, and so, but she seems to calm down kind of quick, but it's not like they remember it. It's not like when the person comes back the next time she remembers what happened the last time y'all talked, because he's been coming there for a while to see her. Out of all these times, has he not fucking figured out why she left him? Out of all these times, because he only gets a few seconds to talk to her, that he's getting bits and pieces, and he just keeps having to try to figure out more and more. Like, and I'm sitting there going, this, anybody ever seen the movie First Date? 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, 50 First Dates, where she'd wake up every morning, new memory. And he had to kind of start over, replay her tape. This is kind of what this is like 50 First Dates for dead people, because like, I want to know why you died in that car wreck. But I spent a minute and 50 seconds trying to calm you down. So then I don't get but 1 or 2 sentences out. I come back, $2,000 again. I set you down, bring you back. I've gotten practice now of how to settle you down a little faster. I kind of like, hey, I need to talk to you. I need to get this out. And you still don't get quite enough time to get everything you need. So you come back starting over. 50 First Dates for dead people. It's kind of what's going through. Like, if you are looking for answers, because 2 minutes ain't long, you got just enough time to calm her down, ask them a question, and basically it. And then it's like, once the 2 minutes is up, you got to put the bag back on the head, because the more you talk after that 2 minutes, she starts getting stronger. The bag lady does, and she starts taking over that body. And you'll see it, like even with his wife, she starts talking through like his wife's face. And it's like that, the Baghead lady, and really mean, cold-hearted talking bitch. And so to stop it, you got to put the bag back on the head. Now, another problem I had, whenever I start this little process, you see him just kind of drop the bag on the floor. And then they start talking, they turn the little timer, 2 minutes starts. Now here's me. I feel like I could be a little smarter. I could be a little smoother with this. If I'm holding the timer, while this old boy's sitting in front of her talking, or whoever my customer may be that day, whoever my customer is, they sitting there in a chair, they're looking at her. I am behind Baghead lady's chair. I don't take the bag off and drop it on the floor. No, I've worked this thing up to a production line almost type thing. I got me a little something set up right there next to her. I'm behind her. She's strapped down. She's eyeballing her dead, their loved one. Bag lady sitting there. I take the hood off. I set the hood down right next to me. A little stool or something, a little table I've made that is like waist high height for me. It's quick access where I can just literally have me a little table. I start my timer. It's sitting right there. I grab the little hood. I'm behind her with the bag in hand. As soon as this bad boy buzzer's going off, I'm just swooping the bag back over her head. And then it's bam. It's like, hey, next, please. And we're moving on. But nowhere in this movie do they go by the rules. The same rules they teaches you on that video. 2 minutes, bag her up, put her back in the wall. None of it. They go over every fucking time. And I'm just sitting there. I'm so annoyed with them, because she's sitting there freaking out like, oh, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. And I'm just like, that was just 50 First Dates for dead people. At some point, our girl Iris, Katie wises up. Like, we need to get out of here. We need to leave. You got to go. Iris starts trying to spin it. Well, we know the rules now. We know the rules. Yeah, you knew the rules and you still fucking broke it. The first time you were down there, you broke the rules. First time. And so she's like, we know the rules, we could do this, we could do it a couple times, save some money. I could go to school and basically to help Katie out. And, I won't. And it was just this like, I knew it was going to happen, because earlier when the dude drops the $4,000 onto the bar, the way she looks at it, you see her look at that money, and you knew that was going to be it. Like, you knew that dollar was going to be your downfall, chick. And it does, because she decides, hey, I want to stay here. And I know the rules. I can make this work. She listens to me. She has to listen to me. My name is on the deed. Her and Katie will have a falling out. This was Katie's chance to get in the car and fucking leave. But Katie is a nice friend. Katie is a good friend. Katie doesn't leave, which ends up cost her life because she decided to have a friend. But a part that at some point it all starts kind of gets too much. At some point, you knew it was going to happen. That little Miss fucking Iris has got to go down there and she's going to want to talk to daddy. And that happens. Neil ends up becoming an asshole. You kind of seen that one coming. There's one part that was funny because when everything's kind of blowing up, Iris gets this idea. She's just like, we're gonna stop this right now. We're gonna go back down there and we're gonna seal her back up in that wall. And I'm going, Miss Iris, it's been many, 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 many years of people's name on that deed. And you can tell throughout the year, just being like, older people who's done this and stuff. And do you honestly think that nowhere during all those years that somebody didn't have the bright idea of let me just go back down there and slap some bricks back on that hole and we're going to seal her up? It doesn't happen because he tells you in the instructions, he basically tells her when he's talking to her that she's going to fuck with your mind. Like she's going to control you like a puppet. And I just didn't, I just wasn't feeling it, man. Like I thought it had something going, and then it just, as it kept going, little things just started annoying me. You get to the point to where of course I didn't like Neil. I don't like Iris. Katie was the only one that was worth the damn. And, she was the nice one and ended up costing her. One of the questions I did have though, while I'm watching this, of course, we know the 51st dates thing. Another thing I'm wondering, and maybe if other people wondered this too, because I was curious, out when somebody comes down and pays $2,000, let's just say, Neil, for instance, was going down there to see his wife. I wonder, were you able to pay for one last romp in the hay with your loved one? I mean, think about it. Think about it. I feel sure just somebody should have had the thought of like, I wonder if, how would that feel? Do they turn back into that exact same person? If I go down and give $2,000, if I kick an extra 1,000 or two in, maybe next time we use a table to lay her down on, and we have a little, what's that word, conjugal visit with the wife or the husband or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I'm curious. Do you think at some point somebody tried it? At some point, I feel sure somebody did. At some point, some sick fucker out there was like, even, hey, I bet her dad did it. I bet at some point her dad did it. Her dad was like, he hadn't seen his wife, in all these years. And eventually the mom passes away. The mom passes away because he left there to go find him. And that's one of the bad things that happened. Mom got sick, died. All this time that we had her dude, the dad, there in this pub by himself with this Baghead. You don't think at some point, little daddy was down there one day sitting around having a few drinks, feeling kind of tipsy, gets to missing the wife, and he knows that he can go down there, give her something that belonged to his wife, because it doesn't keep it. It gives it back once she's done, because at one point you see, like, after she swallows it's what she does. She turns into the person and she spits it back out. So he could have had something of hers, and he just keeps reusing this thing. It's like a them little machines where you put money in there to ride a little rotating horse or a little horse. Just keep putting the same thing in the damn Baghead lady, and she turns into his wife. I wonder if he spent his 2 minutes you know, back in baby's arms. Just curious. Maybe I'm just think like that because I'm fucked up in the head. But somebody did. I bet the daddy did. But now y'all got to think about it too. So, but the ending kind of gets to where I expected it to go. When I, yeah, there was no fancy twist to it, no big haha moment. You kind of there's no good one thing. There was no killing really in it. I think. Well, of course, you see the dad burned. Katie dies, but you don't really see nothing happen to Katie. You just see dead Katie. Neil gets killed, and then of course Iris and Baghead Lady, almost like the song reunited, and it feels so good. It's like two become one. That may have been a Spice Girl song or something at one point. Two become one. I don't remember. It's been a while, but and then she basically will get out of the basement. Now, what's so bad about her getting out of the basement? What's so bad? She had a gift. She had a gift, realistically, if she wanted to get out of that basement and just go help people. This was recent. This is present day when she gets out. We got these mediums running all over the place right now, making tons of money to sit there and go to somebody's house and, whisper to the air and feel like they're hearing something and be like, I'm seeing the letter P. And then they go, oh my God, I had a third uncle, second cousin whose name was Patty. And then the medium kind of, I knew it. Like, this old girl would be the real deal. She could do this. She could make a good living. So what was supposed to happen if it got out of the basement? Was she going to be an evil lady? Maybe she was just pissed off because y'all fucked with her in the beginning 400 years ago when she was just trying to help people. Y'all pissed her off. Y'all want to, they look at her like, oh, that's a witch. You know how they were back in the day, burn all the witches. I feel like that's what, she's mad because y'all bunch of fucking idiots pissed her off all those years ago. So now she's the spirit that had been stuck down here. Now she's got a chance to get out. Now she is united with Iris. And you see all that, how that comes about in the end. But, what's so bad? What was supposed to be the end game if she escaped? All the people that put her in there have already dead and gone. It's not like she's going to go on a revenge spree. She can't really be mad at the people that came to see her because they were just wanting to reconnect with their loved ones. So maybe she gets out, creates a website, baghead.com, hashtag baghead, hashtag bag to life, something. She could have made a living, lived a good life, could have been helpful. We don't know if her getting out of that basement in the girl's body. I always forget her name again. What was it again? Yeah, Iris. I don't know why I keep thinking with an L. Iris. Just because she's in Iris's body now, she's out of the basement. Maybe she goes on to become a great person. Maybe she helps people and it's a happy ending for the lady. Maybe she was just a shitty life because she got stuck in that basement because of some assholes that basically took advantage of her all those years, used her, made money off of her. All she's wanting to just get out, not to go live her own life, do her own thing. I was pulling for Baghead Lady. You feel sorry for Baghead Lady because, damn it, she's been trapped all these years. Used, just random people coming down there every day, couldn't leave the basement. There's one point in this I really thought was funny that Iris at the bottom of the stairs takes some paint and actually paints on there, do not cross. And I'm wondering, she's been down in this basement for a very, 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 very long time. Does she know how to read? Fair question. Does she know how to read? Maybe all she sees is some letters on the bottom of the stairs. Not sure what that was supposed to do. It was supposed to be like a direct order from her to let her know you can't come up these stairs and leave the basement. But Baghead Lady may not be able to read. Just a thought. But happy ending, people. Baghead Lady gets out. Baghead Lady has her new young body to go on about her business, to create whatever life she wants to create after being trapped in this basement for all these years. This is a happy ending story for the Baghead Lady. So, yeah, that's kind of how it went. It wasn't nothing special, in my opinion. It wasn't nothing scary. There's no jump scare, no nothing, in my opinion. You only get one good look at the Baghead Lady with the mask off, and it's like one little creepy, real quick second you see her. Nothing crazy. Really no blood in it, really at all. The only time you really see blood is like right when it's time for fucking dumb Neil to die. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't my thing. It wasn't my bag, baby. It just wasn't for me. So if I got to rate this one, it's got to be a kill for me. It is. I watched it. I'm telling you now to go watch it. You know, I watched it. I'm not gonna. It's not one of those I want to see again. It will literally be one that, you know, I will forget about. And if I see it scrolling past one day, and I'm, oh yeah, I remember Baghead. You know, happy. I was happy for Baghead Lady. You know, she had a happy ending. And but yeah, it's a kill for me. But I'm telling everybody, go watch it, check it out, have your own opinion. Stop by in the comments, let us know what you think. But yeah, that's gonna be it for Baghead 2023. Another episode down, another week down, family. I hope you all have a great weekend. I appreciate you all stopping by, hanging out with us, giving us a few minutes of your time. Go check us out on the social media sites. Go follow, subscribe, like, share, tell your fucked up friends about us. Leave reviews, 5 stars preferably. Go follow us on YouTube. There is a YouTube version if you're listening to this on a podcast platform. We do YouTube video also. Go subscribe and leave comments. You know, I respond to comments. I go through, I try to stay on top of like YouTube comments, any comments. I am, you know, I don't have no automatic reply type shit sent. It's just, you know, I'm not that fancy. I'm definitely not that popular. So I like the interaction. So, but all the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Not happy with TikTok right now. And it's okay because I can say this shit now. I can talk whatever I want to talk about now. I've already covered the movie. I covered what you were here for. I gave you my rating. You know, I left you with some questions to wonder. Did anybody ever pay $2,000 to have sex with a Baghead Lady? You know, I told you the happy ending. Baghead Lady goes on to live a great life, finally. And so this is that part where I'm going to, you know, a little bit of the housekeeping shit. But yeah, not happy with TikTok. On TikTok, earlier today, prior to me getting on here to record this, I'm scrolling through. You know how TikTok is. You get on there, man. It's just like a fucking black hole where you just keep scrolling and it makes the time seem to fly by so quick because you look up and you are literally an hour into scrolling. Well, today I had one. It literally made me just turned off TikTok. You know how you on an iPhone where you get too many apps open and you get it that part and you swipe it up, close it out. I was just shutting TikTok down, like not going back there today. But there was this part, and there was this lady. She's talking, and she's so upset, and she's upset, basically saying how the neighbors have called like animal control on her. And I'm thinking like, okay. And she seems upset about it, but I'm wondering like, well, why are you upset that they called them? What is your animal doing to make them call? Like, do you have like a dog, a cat, or something that's getting over into their yard? Do you have like is your animal, going over there taking shits in their yard when you should be having them shit in your yard? Or they're going out to the backyard one day to do the thing and they're just like your fucking random cat running around out in their yard? Maybe that's why. Because I'm okay with that. I have a house that's big fenced in backyard, and I don't want some neighbor's animal running around in my backyard. I don't why I don't have animals in my house. I'm not gonna have animals outside of my house. So if you can't keep your little rodent over there in your house, then okay, yeah, they call them. They call on you. Hey, control your animal, and that would have been fine. So I'm thinking that's what the neighbors are doing. The neighbors are calling because you can't keep control of your little fucking animal, whatever it may be. Now, as she goes on, what you come to find out is because she makes a comment, she goes, he's not loud. He doesn't use the bathroom outside. He uses it inside in his litter box. Now, when she says he, people, she was not talking about a cat. When she said the litter box, not for a cat. This lady's, look at me, eye to eye, family. This lady, her son, says he is a cat. So she got him a litter box to use the bathroom in at home. The neighbors were calling animal control because they have a fucking sense of humor like this guy does. I want to be their neighbor. I want those types of neighbors. Because how fucking funny is that? Just like the neighbor, one day randomly just calls up like animal control, we're having some issues with like her loud pet. Animal control comes over and she has to explain the fact that she does not have a pet. She does not have an animal like cat. You know, she's got Junior over there in the corner, maybe with some cat ears on his head, you know, sitting on his litter box meowing. I don't know. And the neighbors just find that, so they call him up. I would have a drink with those neighbors. I would bring a bottle of my Gentleman Jack and I would hang out with those neighbors. But that was crazy to me. I'm older. I don't, if this is a thing, I can fuck it. I make fun of it. I think it's funny. So I don't care. You get mad at me. I don't give a shit. But that shit was crazy to me. It was like time to get off TikTok today. Like, no, TikTok, you've took me far enough today. Let me get off here. I'm hearing about mothers buying their kids litter boxes for their kids to do their business in. Yeah. TikTok litter box. What the fuck? What the
fuck is that?
What the fuck? But oh yeah. We do have a TikTok. We do have Facebook, X, Instagram. That was funny. But that's some of the housekeeping shit. And this is kind of cool me talking about this now at the end. Because sometimes I do it in the beginning. And I know there's people out there. They're like, you know, you're just dying. You're dying for me to get to the part where I talk about the movie. And I changed it up this week. I was like, yeah, I want to try it this way. Because on this show, as soon as you get into it, you get an intro and then bam, we're into the movie, man. We're digging into it. And then I get to the end. And now I've done what I came here to do. I talked shit about a movie, gave it a rating. And now I'm just sitting here with you all fine folks of the Fright Flick family having a little drink. Shooting the shit right now. So I kind of like it this way. That way, if you're one of those that, you know, get your feelings hurt and don't like, you know, TikTok litter box jokes, then, you know, you could just stop and then, you know, all my fucked up friends that keep hanging out with me for a little while. But yeah. TikTok litter box. I wonder what his name was. I'm kind of curious what a kid's name was. Or I bet he had his own pet name. Like he's like, no, mom, I want to be called this instead. Like he came up with his own like feline type name. I'm curious. I like to be a fly on the wall just to kind of watch how that plays out in there. You know, I wonder where his litter box is at. I wonder if it's like in the garage or if it's like in his room. Like, can he literally just roll out of bed at night, you know, just pop a squat right there in his litter box? or if it's in the bathroom next to the toilet, he goes in there instead of like, literally could be standing there pissing in the toilet, but decides to piss in the litter box. A lot of questions I have. Yeah. Wonder what his name is. I guarantee he's got a pet name though. Bet you. Gets mad at his mom when she doesn't call him by his pet name, Mom, I told you that's not my name. You imagine him getting mad because his fucking litter box is full? Could you imagine that? Mom, I got clumps in my litter box. You're supposed to empty it. Wonder what he eats. I wonder if he eats his food of like a little, if you're going to use a litter box like an animal, I would literally have you a little dog bowl, a cat bowl right there with it, I mean, if you're going to go that route, if you're going to go like full blown, like I'm an animal, I'm going to pee and poop in a litter box, then I'm wondering, like, are you willing to go full balls to the wall with it? Like, am I sitting there busting you up a bag of Friskies, cat food, something like that? I would definitely fuck with him because what I would do, he'd be sitting there maybe like trying to play video games and shit. I would be sitting there with one of them little red laser lights, like flicking it around the floor at him. You know how cats get all drive them crazy when they see the little red light on the floor? That's what I'd be doing. He'd be like, I'm trying to play video games, Mom. I'd be sitting there with a little red laser. Chase it. Chase it. You know how cats already got them little toys they like to play with and stuff like that. He tried to go in there and play his video games that day. You imagine trying to go in and play your video games? I come in there and just shut that shit right off. No, there's no PlayStation for you, guy. Out in the backyard, I just built you this cool little scratching post that you can go over there, scratch on a little bit. I'd have a lot of fun with him. Lasers, scratching post. Yep. Little friskies. Yeah. But I'm kind of curious though. Mom, empty my litter box. And then that brings me to another question. And man, I love the fact that I'm doing this at the end of the show now because all of my, all the little soft snowflake fucks have at this point just pushed stop and are gone. So if you're still here right now and you're still listening to this, you are my real people. You are my fucked up family. And you all have a sense of humor, and that's why we are happier people than everybody else. But another question. We're about to wrap this up, but another question. Is this a thing? Is this like just something this lady does? Because I'm wondering. They do so much now to cater to fucking kids and everything now. At some point, is like your kid going to go to school one day and come home and tell you that they went to use the bathroom and there's like these, how, and you go to like football games and stuff and races and they got those big troughs looking toilets where everybody just kind of stands up to it and takes a piss. Like you imagine going into the bathroom, your kid comes home, like they got these new things in the bathroom now. It's like kitty litter stalls, like a long stall, kitty litter. for the little furry fucks that want to come in there and pee in the kitty litter instead of the urinal right against the wall there. I'm wondering, how crazy would that be? Mom, they got these new kitty litters at school. Can I have one of those? Fuck no, you're not getting one of those. Oh, I want to know what the little boy's name was. His pet feline name. TikTok litter box. Oh yeah, that was good. Made me laugh. I like coming on here laughing with y'all. I also finished watching. I watched the documentary. I think it was on Netflix. The Lorena Bobbitt. John Wayne Bobbitt, was that his fucking name? I always heard about the fact that they chopped his dick off. She chopped his dick off. I didn't realize there was so much more to it. I didn't realize that he was just a dumb as a rock piece of shit, that liked to beat ladies, and he was dumb. Like whenever I'm watching, I get toward the end, and it's like present day John Bobbitt, and I was super happy for like, Lorena, made something out of her life. She married, kid, going out helping, battered women type shit, doing good stuff. John Wayne Bobbitt just ran off the fact of his popularity, you know, back when his dick got chopped off. You know how it is when those high school football players, they get out of high school, but they don't really ever go anywhere. But they're always there to kind of be like, they don't miss a Friday night game. They're always there. They're always sitting there, and they're always looking for that one person that they can share that old moment of glory, high school football moment that just keeps them breathing and going every day. They just have somebody to relive it with. And he was just one of those where it was like he mooched off the fact, I'm John Wayne Bobbitt. I got my dick cut off. I got my dick put back on. You go out and make some little bit of porn type shit, and one thing I will say in that documentary, they actually give you a picture of said dick, the part that was cut off. And there's a picture of the sack and everything while the dick was cut. The only downside when Lorena did this, she did not go full on. Like, when you cut trees down, if you got a tree out in your front yard, you want to cut that thing as low to the ground as you can get it. You don't want no stump sticking up. You just want to cut it real low. And if she was going to cut his dick off, I wish she would have just grabbed it, a good hard snatch and tug. And if you're going to cut it, you get that bad boy right at the base, right where you don't want to leave a stump. You cut that tree down, you want to cut it off as close to the ground as you can get it. I wish you would have hacked him that close, because when you see it, it looks like she just cut, like, if you're seeing this on YouTube, but it's just like a little, almost like the tip, kind of what it looked like. Because even in the picture of the sack, you still see like part of the shaft kind of laying there. It's bloody and shit. And don't get me wrong, any pain down there is ridiculous. Like I couldn't imagine. It makes you cringe to think of it. But this dumb box of rocks smart guy had it coming. He was just but yeah, especially when it gets toward the end and you're just listening to him talk. Some of the interviews he does, some of the stuff he does after, like, years later, that he still tries to do, like, like he's still trying to milk, like, I'm John Wayne Bobbitt, high school quarterback. I had that one big play. Yeah, I'm a fucking loser. But that was a good documentary. If you find it, Netflix, check it out. Well, I believe I've kept you all long enough. There's a couple things I'd seen, like, what I watched this week, TikTok, stuff like that. And there's little things that jumped out at me. I want to get on here and talk about. And so I saved it to the end for all my real friends, for all you real sick fucks that ain't going to just run away because I cracked a joke about something. But yeah, I had a good time, like talking about the movie. But go check it out. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. Thank you for hanging out with me. We reached that time of the show, people. Need you all to if you're still here, to my faithful Fright Flick fucked up family, reach over and grab your drinks, gather up your shit and put your chairs away, and get the fuck out of here.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
Monsters!
All you ever learn is my desire.
My name is Frankenstein!
That man's got Mars.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
See this? This is my boomstick.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and ice cream.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's alive! It's alive!
Here's Johnny. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
Welcome to the debauchery.